Beneath the veneer of skepticism, reality bears witness to chilling truths. In the haunting corridors of history, where shadows dance with undeniable evidence, remember this, the stories are true. Prepare for a revelation. Where the supernatural is stripped of fiction, and the unknown is laid bare, are you ready to confront the undeniable? The stories are true, and the echoes of reality await.
All right, buckle up for this wild tale of Madison and her imaginary entourage. So picture this. Kelly's daughter Madison starts her own exclusive club of imaginary pals. We're talking Dana and Steve, Froger and Kinger, and even a dynamic duo named boyfriend and girlfriend, social butterfly, right? To fly. But wait, it gets better. Suddenly in strolls Kellum, the imaginary friend who takes the cake. Why? Well, he's not just any imaginary friend. Oh no, Madison's got herself a bearded, 40s-something outside clothes wearing gentleman on her hands. I mean, at that point, I'd be more worried about fashion faux pas than imaginary friends, but Kelly understandably starts raising an eyebrow. Now Madison's chatting it up with Kellum, playing with Play-Doh and building towers. All seems well until the night terror train rolls in. Kellum apparently is the ultimate playtime enthusiast, going full-on DJ Khaled with the all I do is play, play, play no matter what. Madison's not having it, she's trying to sleep, and Kellum's turning into a nocturnal playtime menace. Then plot twist. Madison discovers that Kellum isn't just a playful dude, he's evolving. His face is going grunge, he's on a sudden diet, and his eyes are channeling some serious zombie vibes. Madison, being the discerning toddler she is, decides she's done with this imaginary makeover. Now cue the horror movie moment. Kelly wakes up to Madison screaming, curtains doing the cha-cha in a closed window scenario, and Kelly sprinting out of there like she's in a marathon for the living. Enter the godly grandpa, armed with anointing oil and the power to banish imaginary friends. 2 hours later, spoiler alert, Kellum's out of there. Fast forward to Kelly's detective work, uncovering a Callum Beasley and his tragic tale of a daughter who bit the dust at 3. Coincidence, maybe? Spooky? Definitely. So Madison bids farewell to her imaginary crew and life goes back to normal. Lesson learned. Imaginary friends are cool, but if they start redecorating your room or demanding a midnight play date, it's time to call in the big guns, preferably armed with anointing oil. After all, having an imaginary friend is not so strange, but a haunted play date. Now that's a story to tell at sleepovers.
Hold tight for the next one. Hey, gather around. I've got a couple of bone-chilling tales for you, straight from the haunted corridors of York Castle Museum. Picture this. Zoe and her crew decide to spice up their holiday with a visit to this supposedly haunted museum. You know, just casual ghost hunting with the family. They're snapping away, capturing memories left and right. Fast forward to when they're back home, going through the pics for a good laugh. Everything seems normal until one of their team members points out something seriously strange. In the background of one photo, there's this ghostly apparition that looks like a child doll, chilling in the back of an old car. They're all like, WTAF, checked every other pic, watched the videos they took, nada, just this one eerie photo with a ghostly surprise. Can you imagine stumbling upon that? Now, let's talk about Ryan and Nicole, a couple from Bradford, hitting up the same museum. Touristy vibes, right? They're back home, scrolling through their pics, and boom, Ryan's face goes pale. In one shot from the museum's prison exhibit, there's this ghostly figure, a little boy, casually strolling to the right or maybe straight into the wall. Boots, breeches, the whole spooky deal. But here's the kicker. They swear up and down they didn't see this ghostly kid during their visit. Ryan's scratching his head, saying, I thought it was a shadow, but there was nobody peeping around the corner. And there was nothing on the floor either. Now, that's the kind of stuff that makes you rethink your museum adventures, isn't it? Ghostly surprises and shadowy mysteries lurking in the corners of a supposedly innocent day out. York Castle Museum sure knows how to keep things interesting. York Castle, a Somer fortress, housed a multitude of political and religious dissenters throughout history. Among its unfortunate inhabitants were Knights Templar, Catholics who resisted the Reformation, Jacobite supporters of Bonnie Prince Charlie, as well as the Luddites, Peterloo protesters, and 19th century Chartists, to mention just a few. The castle's walls bear witness to a dark tapestry of defiance and resistance across various periods in history. Hold tight for the next one.
Hey, you won't believe this crazy story I heard about this haunted house in Hawaii back in 1941. So the police got this frantic call from a woman screaming, "She's trying to kill my children." I know, intense, right? Anyway, the cops rush over, and when they get there, they find the family, mom, 3 daughters, and a son, being tossed around and levitated. And get this, whatever was doing it to them was totally invisible. Spooky, right? But here's the kicker. It wasn't a one-time thing. Over the years, there were more incidents. A kid smelled a ghost. Weird, I know. And it got so mad it attacked the family and even the police. Fast forward 30 years, and 3 girls staying in the same house heard strange noises. When the cops show up, one of the girls starts fighting off something. The cop swears a strong hand, definitely not a teenage girl's, grabs him and twists his arm. The girl ends up barely alive, grabbing her throat. Creepy, huh? Now the locals swear it's this shape-shifting spirit from Japan called the kasha. It's like a troll or a cat demon with a burning tail. Apparently it snatches up the corpses of the not yet buried sinners and drags them to hell. Others say it just feeds on corpses, sinners or not. Sounds like a real nightmare, huh? But here's the twist. The house had a dark history even before the 1941 incident. The previous family had a messed up situation where the dad killed the wife, son, and daughter. The daughter's body was never found. So, maybe the kasha came looking for her. Crazy, right? They were so freaked out by all these attacks that in 2016 they tore the house down and did some rituals to kick the kasha out. But guess what? The weird happenings didn't stop. People in the new condo built on that spot are still reporting strange stuff. Is the kasha still on the hunt for that missing daughter? Who knows? Ghost, demon, cat, troll. Does it really matter when you've got a calloused hand grabbing your arm and twisting it? Spooky stuff, man.
Hold tight for the next one.
Hey, you won't believe this crazy story about the oldest drawing of a ghost. Picture this. There's this small tablet like fits right in your hand. At first, you'd think it's just covered in ancient writing, but if you take a closer look, there are 2 carved figures on it. One is your regular dude and the other, wait for it, looks like a ghost. So, back in 2021, the British Museum's Middle Eastern department had their hands on this 500-year-old stone tablet from Babylon. The curator dude was all intrigued when he noticed that the second figure, though still kinda human-like, had that ghostly vibe. Spooky, right? And here's the kicker. The writing on the tablet wasn't some ancient shopping list. It was actually a set of instructions on how to kick ghosts to the curb. Step 1. Craft 2 figurines, 1 guy, 1 gal. Oh, and don't forget to brew some beer. Now, they weren't clear if the beer was part of the exorcism or just a way to calm your nerves for what could be a seriously long night. After you've got your little beer buddies, wait until sunrise. Then you gotta chant some ritual words calling out to the god Shamash. But they warn you, don't chug too much of that beer before talking to Shamash. He's apparently the guy responsible for escorting ghosts down to the underworld. The plan was that Shamash would snag the ghost in the right gendered figurine, and off they'd go into the afterlife. There's a broken off section in the tablet at this point, but I bet it says something like, finish the beer, priorities, right? Now, here's the kicker. The more things change, the more they stay the same. The final line on the tablet is like a spooky message from the past, reaching out 3,500 years to anyone scared of ghosts. It simply says, don't look behind you. Classic ghost story move, even back in the day. Can you believe it?
Hold tight for the next one.
All right, gather round, my friend, and let me spin you a yarn about the Whistler, the musical menace of Venezuela and Colombia. It begins with the sound of whistling. It is always the same tune running through C, D, E, F, and then lowering to G, A, and B in that order. If you hear it nearby, then you are safe. It is only when it is in the distance that you can be sure it is El Silban, the whistler, who is coming for you. Picture this. It all kicks off with a whistle, a jaunty little tune meandering through the musical alphabet like it's lost in a grocery store. But here's the kicker: if that melody's near, you're golden. If it's echoing in the distance, well, buckle up, because El Silban, the whistler, is on his way, and he's got a bone to pick. Now, why is this lanky straw hat wearing dude with chunks of flesh hanging off him so miffed? Oh, there are theories, my friend. One says he's a farmer's son turned avenger, offing his old man for playing the field, only to get tortured and offed by grandpa. Another yarn paints him as a spoiled brat who served up his father's guts to his mom because daddy didn't nail the dinner menu. She, in turn, cursed him to eternal wanderlust. Tough crowd, right? Watch out, party animals and Casanovas. El Soban's got your number. He's the regular nightmare fuel in Los Llanos, where the Orinoco River dries up faster than a bottle of tequila at a college party. He's on a mission tearing womanizers to shreds and sipping on the spirits from drunkards' navels as they meet their maker. But hold up, it's not just the party boys on his hit list. El Soban's got a softer side. He likes family time. Picture this, he pops by, plops down in your doorway, and starts counting his bones. Now, here's the kicker: if you don't give him your undivided attention, he's got a family-size curse package with your name on it. No pressure, right? Legend has it, you might fend him off with a chili, no kidding, a chili that jogs his memory about his misdeeds, or a whip that reminds him of the good old punishment days. Some folks even swear by a dog's bark, the only thing on this planet that makes the Whistler's knees shake. Oh, and there's a rumor that a well-timed Lord's Prayer could send him packing, but the catch is, nobody's lived to tell the tale. So, what if you find yourself toe-to-toe with the Whistler? Brace yourself, because if he claims you, your bones join his collection, tossed into a sack along with dear old Dad's. You'll be cursed to wander the earth like a really, really disgruntled ghost, forever chasing the elusive maestro of melodies. Word on the street is that the planes are quieter lately. Maybe El Silban's pulling some overtime. So play it safe, keep your wits about you, steer clear of the bottle, and stick to one special someone. After all, who needs a whistling straw hat wearing companion haunting your nights? Cheers to bone-chilling bedtime stories, my friend.
Hold tight for the next one.
All right, gather round for the ghostly gossip of the century. Ballygally Castle's got a resident spectre, and she's not your typical boogeyman. Meet Lady Isabel Shaw, the friendliest ghost this side of, well, Casper the Friendly Ghost. Move over, scary spirits, we've got a warm and fuzzy apparition in the building. Picture this. You wake up in Ballygally Castle, expecting the usual haunted mansion vibes, and instead, you're hit with a welcoming green mist. It's like Lady Isabel is throwing a spectral party, and everyone's invited. She's either strolling the corridors or conjuring up this cozy, ghostly fog. Who knew haunting could be so heartwarming? Now, Lady Isabel's origin story is a real drama fest. Lord Shaw, her less-than-charming hubby, loses his cool because she didn't pop out a mini-me for him. So what does he do? Locks her up in the castle like some medieval timeout. Classic move, Lord Shaw, classic move. In one version, she takes a tumble trying to escape, and in another, he goes full-on villain and throws her off the tower. The drama, I tell you. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of becoming a grumpy ghost with a vengeance, Lady Isabel decides to be the cheeriest spectre in town. Maybe she's the queen of resilience, shrugging off being tossed off a tower like it's just a Tuesday tumble. And get this, Lord Shaw mysteriously pulls a vanishing act shortly after Lady Isabel becomes a full-time ghost. Coincidence? Or did he accidentally stumble into the afterlife? All's well that ends mysteriously, right? Lady Isabel, you're giving ghosting a whole new meaning.
Hold tight for the next one.
All right, buckle up, because I've got a ghost story that will make your jaw drop and your funny bone tickle. We're not talking about some haunted castle with creaky doors and flickering candles. No, this paranormal party went down at number 63, Wycliffe Road in Battersea, South London, England. So, the Hitchings family moves in back in 1956. Dad's a train driver, Mum's a former office clerk cruising in a wheelchair, and their daughter Shirley is just your typical 15-year-old, dealing with algebra and whatnot. Now, this whole poltergeist drama starts innocently enough with a mysterious key on Shirley's pillow. Dad Wally goes Sherlock Holmes on it, trying every lock in the house, but no luck. He puts it on the mantelpiece, probably thinking it's the ghost of misplaced keys past. Fast forward to 2 a.m. and the whole family wakes up to a symphony of banging, loud enough to make the neighbours complain. The police and the fire brigade play Ghostbusters but find zilch, and oh, the key disappeared too. Surprise. Surprise. Soon, it turns into a paranormal circus. Objects flying around like they're auditioning for a ghostly Cirque du Soleil. Slippers taking a stroll on their own, and the family piano deciding to drop a spontaneous solo. It's like the supernatural version of a chaotic family reunion. But wait, it gets better. One night, Shirley's sheets decide they need some fresh air, and the family ends up in a tug-of-war over a teenage girl with a rebellious bed. Then, just for kicks, Shirley starts levitating inches above her bed. Hogwarts acceptance letter lost in the mail, perhaps? By February, the whole country is buzzing about 63 Wycliffe Road, and in steps our hero, the ghost hunter Harold Chibbett. He's like the paranormal Sherlock, only with a weirder name. Chibb suggests an exorcism for Shirley, but the police crash the party, thinking he's dabbling in black magic. In Parliament, the local MP is basically saying, "Hey police, leave those ghosts alone." Now enter the star of the show, the ghost named Donald. Yeah, like Donald Duck, because this spirit apparently had a temper matching a cranky cartoon duck. Chibb, the ghost whisperer, decides to communicate with Donald using letter cards. Classic Ouija board move, right? Donald claims to be French and scared, throwing messages like "Shirley, I come" into the mix. He even starts making demands, telling Shirley how to style her hair and threatening to go all fiery if she doesn't comply. Allegedly, Donald continues to be the ultimate ghost stalker, even after Shirley makes a run for it.
Hold tight for the next one.
Hey there, let me share this wild ghost story from Lockdown with you. You know how dogs were all happy with their humans around all the time? Well, turns out ghosts had their own way of dealing with it, and it's a blend of creepy and, believe it or not, a bit heartbreaking. Lockdown had everyone on edge, right? Paranormal researchers noticed a spike in people reporting weird stuff in their homes. Objects moving around inexplicably, uncanny voices out of nowhere, and gadgets acting like they have a mind of their own. Classic ghost drama. Now imagine being cooped up with a ghost named Matthew. This couple in Nashville had to endure his presence, and let me tell you, Matthew wasn't winning any ghost popularity contests. Every night he'd stomp up and down the stairs, louder than a family cat voicing its displeasure over its lost territory. And the shower? The poor couple got hit with icy water because Matthew thought it'd be funny to mess with the hot water switch. Not exactly the ghostly conduct you'd call civil, right? But here's the heartwarming twist. While Matthew was causing chaos, there are apparently helpful ghosts out there too. In Queens, this couple was having a nightly tug-of-war over a shared blanket. Classic relationship stuff, right? Then one night, the husband Carrie felt the blanket move, but it wasn't his wife Alexandra. It was being neatly straightened out. He thanked her, but she was in the bathroom. Talk about a plot twist. A few weeks later, Carrie spots a glowy Asian woman in green scrubs in the kitchen. She disappears when the light comes on. Now, the heartbreaking part is, could this spectral figure be the one making their nights peaceful? Maybe she's the helpful blanket straightener? It's almost like they found a spectral guardian angel in the midst of all the lockdown madness. Makes you wonder about the softer side of ghosts, doesn't it?
Hold tight for the next one.
Picture this grim tale, my friend, in the shadows of Romberg Castle, a haunting relic overlooking the river Vltava in Bohemia, Czech Republic. This fortress, rooted in the chilling history of the Romberg family, echoes with the sorrowful whispers of Perchta, the infamous White Lady of Bohemia. Back in 1253, the Romberg clan thrived within these ancient walls. Fast forward to 1449, and Oldrich II, the mighty king of the family, wove a sinister web for his daughter Perchta. He married her off to Jan of Liechtenstein, a man whose cruelty knew no bounds. Perchta's letters pleading for escape fell on deaf ears, and her life became a relentless nightmare. Abandoned by her kin and tormented by her husband, Perchta's world crumbled. Her brothers perished, as did her children, leaving her to bury her own blood. Even on his deathbed, Jan sought forgiveness, but she, fueled by bitterness, cursed him. Death was her only refuge, or so she hoped. When Perchta departed in 1476, legend has it her spirit lingered, a tormented specter haunting Romberg Castle. The White Lady emerged bearing white or black gloves foretelling joy or disaster for her cursed kin. The gloves turned black more often, sealing the Romberg fate in darkness. Yet, amidst her vengeful haunting, Perchta showed a flicker of benevolence. When Peter Vock, the last Romberg, teetered on the edge of death as an infant, the White Lady allegedly intervened. She nursed him back to health, scolding the negligent nurse, and vanished into the shadows. Later, in 1611, Peter melted down the family treasure to save Bohemia, guided by the spectral lady with white gloves. Some claim this was Perchta's final act before departing with the last Romberg. Others believe her spectral presence still lurks in the castle's cold corridors. A macabre theory even suggests she is the winter goddess Perchta, rewarding or punishing children with silver or stone-filled entrails. On Perchta's portrait, etched in the enigmatic Enochian script, a riddle remains unsolved. Whispers echo that deciphering it would grant Perchta freedom, yet the chilling truth prevails. No one has unraveled the cryptic message, leaving the White Lady of Bohemia imprisoned in her eternal torment.
Hold tight for the next one.
Picture this: ancient Rome, a time of toga-wearing philosophers, haunted houses, and dirt-cheap real estate. It all starts with the legendary Pliny the Younger, who had a penchant for sharing ghost stories in his letters. Ghosts in Roman times weren't just your run-of-the-mill spirits. They were the OG haunters, moaning and rattling chains like it was a supernatural jam session. Now there's this house, said to be haunted, up for grabs. Potential buyers kept getting spooked away faster than you can say, "Beware of ghosts." Enter Athenodorus, the great philosopher with a keen eye for a deal. He's got his sights set on this haunted crib, but there's a catch, a ridiculously low price. Suspicious? You bet. Athenodorus, not one to be scared off by a little ghostly activity, decides to spend a night in the haunted abode. As the night unfolds, he hears the familiar sound of chains rattling, the ghostly playlist of the afterlife. Instead of bolting for the door, Athenodorus does the unthinkable. He follows the sound. Lo and behold, he encounters an old man with a beard, shackled and burdened by chains, standing next to a pile of bones. Quick on the philosophical uptake, Athenodorus deduces that these bones are the earthly remnants of the chain-clad geezer. Without skipping a beat, he arranges for a proper burial, and just like that, the ghost issue is laid to rest. And what does Athenodorus get in return? A house at a price so low it's practically otherworldly. But hold on, the tale doesn't end there. Fast forward to Athenodorus settling into his new digs. Picture this: he's there, quill in hand, minding his own business, when the ghost himself decides to make a grand appearance. Chains rattling, moaning in agony, the full ghostly orchestra is in session. Athenodorus, not one to let spectral interruptions ruin his writing flow, ignores the ghostly commotion. The spectre, undeterred, decides to get Athenodorus's attention by rattling those chains inches from his face. Talk about an up-close and personal haunting. Our fearless philosopher, though, is not easily swayed. He coolly signals to the ghost to wait, as if saying, "Hold on, I'm in the middle of something here." The ghost, growing impatient, rattles its chains even more insistently, practically shouting, "Follow me, dude!" Athenodorus, the epitome of nonchalant bravery, stands up, picks up his lamp because who wants to ghost hunt in the dark, and casually strolls after the persistent spectre. And that, my friend, is how Athenodorus not only snagged the deal of a lifetime, but also turned a haunting into the ultimate comedy in the real estate market of ancient Rome. Talk about a ghost with no negotiation skills.
Thanks for joining us on this eerie adventure. If you enjoyed the chills, don't forget to subscribe. More mysteries await. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay curious.